Hello and welcome to another Foreman community demo. Please note that this demo is being recorded, so if you have problems with the live stream, you can rewatch at a later time. Please feel free to ask any questions in the YouTube live chat or on the Foreman channel on Freenode IRC, as both are being monitored. Before we begin, just a few short announcements. So as you probably know, last week we had ForemanCon, which was 2 days of sessions aimed at Foreman contributors. All the videos from these sessions are available to rewatch on the Foreman YouTube channel. If you attended any or all of these sessions, we also have a questionnaire. Online events like these are still quite new to everyone, and we want to get better, so please help us do so by providing any feedback you can. There's a link to the questionnaire in the community section of our Foreman discourse, and I will pop one in the live chat once the demos begin today as well. And that since we last met, there has also been a few release announcements. So if you remember, on the Foreman side of things, during the last community demo, Tomer and the others were busy putting the final touches on Foreman 2.2, and since then Foreman 2.2.1 has been also released, and this includes updates to correct the logging layout and a fix for the puppet run removal migration. And for more information on that release, you can see a full release announcement on the Foreman community discourse. And also there's a release candidate available. Sorry, I have on the slide that is the first. I think it's the second release candidate is available for Foreman 2.3, and it's now available for testing. So please evaluate this release candidate to help make the next Foreman release as stable as possible. And some of the new features that are included in this release is a simplified process for registering hosts to Foreman, the ability to preview template rendering when safe mode is disabled, and also a new instance title to help distinguish different Foreman instances from one another, which was demoed in the previous community demo. And on the Katello side, since we last met, Katello 3.17 has been released. And a total of 105 bug fixes and features have been addressed in this release. So please check out the full release announcement on the Foreman community discourse to see the full list of features and fixes. And then also with Katello, there is a 3.18 release candidate available. This release candidate focuses on improvements to the simple content access experience, as well as preparing for the final transition to Pub 3, which will take place in Katello 4.0. And I think that's everything from me for now. So first up is Marcus with an update on the efforts with the Debian Pub 3 work for Katello. So Marcus, in your own time, please.
Okay, so thanks, Melanie. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you just fine.
Thanks.
So just share your screen.
Yes, I'm going to share my full screen right now. So as you might or might not know, there's a big change coming in Katello where we switch to Pulp 3 or Pulp Core, however you want to name it. And I was, I did the Katello integration for the Pulp 3 plugin. And since my pull request was finally merged a few weeks ago, and there are also packages right now being built, we thought it might be a good idea to show this to you guys and show you how to work with it, and hopefully that it works if the demo gods are with me today. So what I did, I took a CentOS 7 Katello Nightly box from Forklift, and as I already said, the packages are already built, so the only thing I actually did was install the Python 3 pulp dep plugin, which is the plugin for pulp core, so for the pulp side. The Katello stuff should already be installed. And now, normally you would just do a Foreman installer run, but I'm taking the short way today because Foreman installer would take a long time to run. So let's see if I can just apply the migrations and restart pulp core. So this was the status page of Pulp from before, where you see all the installed plugins, and you see there was no Pulp dep for now. And if I refresh, it hopefully should pop up. Yes, it does. So there it is. What we then have to do is make sure that also the Foreman proxy knows about it. So for now, I was still using Pulp 2, and if you do a refresh here, it should automatically detect that it's there. And yes, it now uses the Pulp core. So now for trying to sync a repository, we have to create the repository newly. I'll take this one as I know it quite good. So ATEX Debian 10 client. So the way of configuring is basically the same as with Pulp 2. For now, there were no new stuff added here. And what also already works is verifying the upstream signature of the repositories. So if we click on that and say sync now, it should hopefully sync it correctly. A neat trick if you want to check if you're already on Pulp or Pulp 3 or on Pulp 2, if you get this large display here, it's Pulp 3 or Pulp core. Then if you get back, I have to refresh the page, and we see that there are 7 new packages. Yeah, just to make sure that the signing key checking really works, we can try to sync it with the wrong one, where it should give us an error message. Yes, there's a warning there. Unfortunately, the warning is not that clear until now. It just says no valid release file found for stable, which is technically correct, but we might want to add a better error message for that in the future. But yeah, that's work in progress. Notice we should also be able to access it. Well, not quietly, because there's still a bug in here, which was thankfully fixed by Justin Sherrill. So thanks for that, Justin, where the link doesn't work correctly. But if I set this to content, we should already see. So this is the synced repository, which is published by a Pulp dep or by a Pulp core. And we have the lists, and in this case, only the default, which is where all the packages are automatically put in. There is another mode which we could set, which would then also set the stable suite, which is the one that is normally, or which is the one of the repository that was synced. What we see right now is that there's just a release file and no signatures, which is not that nice for a Debian repository, because on a Debian repository, you usually want this release file to be signed. So the host that uses it, can check that the repository is authentic. And this is unfortunately currently a little bit hard to do. See here. Copy this one. So what I just did is I added a signing service to Pulp Core. A signing service is basically something that says, okay, if you want this stuff signed, then use this the signing shell script. The signing shell script was something that was already present in Pulp 2, so nothing that much new about that. This is just one that knows about the key, which we have to create in advance for the Pulp user. And then it just signs the incoming release files. And since I added this, I should be able to do simply republish repository metadata. And the stuff should be signed. Since this process of adding this signing service is a little bit tricky currently, this is because it's, as far as I know, just in tech preview right now. I will probably write a how-to in the community board about this stuff, and we might be able to put the link somewhere in the future. And just check. And yeah, you see there's the in-release file, which has the inline signature, and the release GPG, which is the signature of the release file. And I think that's mostly what I want to show you guys. So thanks for listening to me, and back to you, Melanie.
Thank you, Marcus. I just pause for a moment to see if there are any questions. I suspect a lot of our primary question askers are actually in the Hangout with us. So if anyone on, if anyone here in the room as well would like to ask Marcus anything, please feel free.
If that's not the case, I'm usually on IRC during my office hours, and on the community board, you can just ping me, and I usually, talk back to you.
Thank you, Marcus. I don't see any questions at the moment, but if somebody has one and asks at a later stage, I'll call upon you if that's okay.
Yeah, also feel free to try this stuff out. As I said, I will write a tutorial about this, and you can try it out yourself. And yeah, if you find something, just create a bug report about it, so we can get it up to speed. Thanks.
You've one fan, Juan Pablo, just said, looks good, nice progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
For that. So normally up next we would have Ian, but Ian, if you'd like to go a bit later, because I know you had to join a bit late, it's completely up to you. If you'd like to take a bit of time, that's fine.
Oh, I'm completely fine to go now.
Okay, you sound perfect. So if you can get your screen up and going, then you're welcome to go next.
Will do. I will get my screen up. Thank you. Okay, great. So hi, everyone. I'm Ian, and I have been working a lot on the Pulp3 integration with Foreman or with Katello. You might have seen some of my previous demos, but here I just have another quick update with the Pulp3, with some Pulp3 related stuff. So as part of the Pulp 2 to 3 migration process, we have added a couple new commands to, well, a couple new rake tasks and as well Foreman maintain commands to make your life a little bit easier. So here in my terminal, I just have a quick printout of what you'll see with the Foreman maintain content command. This is upcoming for Katello 3.18, by the way. So you have your normal prepare command, which is the command that you'll run to do your migration, but not yet switch over to Pulp3. So you can run that as many times as you want to move your content over to Pulp3 at your leisure. And then when you're ready, just a reminder, so there's the switchover command that you'll run. But then there's two new commands here. So this next command is called prepare abort. So if you're running a migration in your terminal and for some reason you get, I don't know, you get disconnected from it and you want to make sure that you kill the migration process, you'll just run this prepare abort command. And I don't have anything running right now, but I'll just show you what the output looks like. So it'll cancel all the commands. For now, it'll only cancel if you're running the actual migration. There's a final Katello, there's a final task to import the migration that doesn't take nearly as long as the actual migration itself. That bit isn't cancelable, but we're working on making that cancelable as well. But the longest running part by far is cancelable. So you'll see an output like this where it says you've canceled, N tasks. Now, let me show you the next bit. This bit might be a little bit more interesting because, of course, you can still cancel the task within the UI, but if you want to do it from the terminal, here you are. But the next one we have are the migration stats. So if you want to just have a quick look at how many repositories are actually running on Pulp3, and also, for now, information about your Yum content, since that tends to be the heaviest hitter on people's installs. You can see it right here. So just some information. You see the migrated over the total RPMs in your system. You see the same for errata, and then also the repositories. So that's handy so you know if your system is ready to do a quick switchover. You can tell if everything is migrated. And then we also give you a little note at the bottom here just to remind you that all of the metadata that's in varlib pulp published is also going to end up in another directory for Pulp3. So we're just reminding you that you need to make sure that you have enough space on your storage for that to double. And yeah, that was just a quick look at these new commands that you'll be able to use. And yeah, that's everything for me. So thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Ian. I'll just give a minute to see, has anyone any questions? I'll just take a look around as well. Hey, you just get a smiley face on the YouTube live chat, Ian, so thank you very much.
Excellent.
And so then up next we have Jeremy with another Katello demo about restricting OS versions in custom repositories.
Okay, thank you, Melanie. I'll share my screen here. Hopefully everyone can hear me.
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, so I'm here to talk to you today about restricting the OS version in custom repositories. So this is part of the our improved workflow around simple content access, which is coming, I believe, in Katello 4.0. So as you can see, I've created a custom product here, and it's got two repos, one for RHEL 7 and one for Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8. And so the idea, ideally, is that your RHEL 7 hosts can only see the RHEL 7 repo, and then your RHEL 8 hosts can only see the RHEL 8 repo. But as we know, custom products are enabled by...
Your audio is dropping, Jeremy.
repos into separate products. So you would have a RHEL 7 product, which would have only this repo in it. And then you would have a RHEL 8 product, which would have only your RHEL 8 repo in it. And then what you would do is you would subscribe your RHEL 7 host, and then they would only see the relevant. But with simple content access coming into the picture, you literally are not allowed to attach a subscription to a host. So that works great. That's where this new feature comes in. And this only works for RHEL systems, by the way. I'll tell you why a bit later. But anyway, if you see my repository details page here, you can see that we've added a new option, restrict to OS version. And what it will do is that if I restrict it to Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7, then only RHEL 7 hosts will be able to see this repo. I'm going to cancel it for now because I want you to see, I'm going to do a little bit of a demo here. I want you to see what it looks like with nothing restricted. So here's my RHEL 7 host. If I do subscription manager repos, it's going to tell me what repos are available on this host. We can see both of these, RHEL 7 and RHEL 8 repos. That's not ideal. Likewise, if I do the same thing on my RHEL 8 host, we're going to see both repos, same thing. So we don't want that. So what I can do is restrict this to Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7. And I'm also going to restrict my RHEL 8 repo to Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8. And now, when I go back to my terminal and take a look again, I can only see the RHEL 8 repo on the RHEL 8 host, which is great. That's what we want. And then on my RHEL 7 host, I can do the same thing. And we will see that I can only see the RHEL 7 repo. So that's the basics of the new feature. As I mentioned before, it only works for Red Hat Enterprise Linux systems. This is due to some technical limitations on how Subscription Manager decides which repos to enable. So if you have CentOS or other OSs, the behavior, you'll still have the same behavior as you've had before. Namely, you just leave this on no restriction and it will be available everywhere. So that's it for me. Any questions?
No questions so far, but you have one comment that it looks great. And I'll just check if there are any comments. Your audio got a small bit choppy, just a little bit at the beginning, but I don't think. I still think
oh, that's too bad.
We're clear enough. I don't think it was too bad. But I don't see any more comments or questions. So thank you very much, Jeremy. And if anyone has a question, they can. Yeah, you're finished on the stream at least. So if anyone has a question, they can ask it anytime. And up next then is Jonathan with import-only content views.
All right, thanks, Melanie. Let me get my screen sharing. And that should be coming up.
Looks good.
Great. So if you've been attending the community demos recently, you've probably seen a trend, especially around the Katello demos relating to Pulp 3. And this demo is no exception. However, it's slightly different because you're not going to see any explicit references to Pulp 3, but the work is related because we're trying to build around this feature as part of that migration from Pulp 2 to Pulp 3. And what I'm showing today is a new idea we've introduced called an import-only content view. This relates to a demo that Partha had given maybe 1 or 2 demos ago around importing data from one Katello server to another. Presumably, those 2 servers are lacking a network connection between each other, so you can't just sync repositories, for example. But you need our mechanism to export data from one to the other. So let's call it your downstream Katello, the one which will receive the imported content. You would need to create a content view, which has Yum repositories mirroring what was in the exported content view from the upstream Katello server. And what we've done is created the idea of an import-only content view, which allows you to specify and say very clearly that this content view exist solely for the purpose of receiving data that's been exported from another Katello server. And this is important, one, simply for kind of a visual cue. In the content views list, we show, let me jump over here. We show whether a content view is import only. So it's easy to see which ones are configured in this way. But primarily, we would do this because there are a certain set of restrictions that we need to place around import-only content views. You'll notice that when I select import-only, I can't also make this view composite or have it solve dependencies. Those ideas are basically irrelevant at this point, because if this content view will be importing some exported content, then it just gets all of that exported content. And whether it's composite or depth solving enabled is, not pertinent. So if I create such a view, you'll notice that if you have this UI more or less memorized, you'll notice that there are some things missing. For example, we can't add any other content except yum, because that is the only content type that we currently support for exporting. And we also cannot add filters. Again, this kind of ties back to the dependency solving and composite notions. Those don't really apply here. You'll also notice that we cannot publish this content view. There isn't a publish button that would ordinarily be here. And that's because the publication of an import-only content view is taken care of upon the import process. So there isn't a need to publish this independently. Let me see. I guess the final thing to mention is that import only cannot be changed after the fact. Once I've created this, I can't change it, similar to how we do composite. And I think we do that because this is it's a big, important, impactful change. And if you've already configured a content view that you're using for another purpose rather than importing, you don't want to accidentally put it into import only mode. That could just cause confusion. So that kind of wraps up this import only content view idea. In the next couple demos, we're going to be showing a lot more of the end-to-end of the import-export workflows, because we're improving the APIs and we're also building out a lot of the Hammer functionality. So it's going to be much easier to follow along in this process. And this is just kind of one piece of the puzzle. So be on the lookout for those demos. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. As far as I can see, there are no questions, but just some kudos in IRC from Evgeny for a great Pub 3 non-mention.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, I don't see any questions so far, but you're still maybe they haven't caught up with us fully yet. Just about now you finished on the live stream. I think there's a slight delay. So if anyone has questions, you can always ask at a later time. And then up next we have Chris, and on the demo schedule there are 2 demos, but because of environmental issues, there will just be the system purpose bulk actions demo for today, and then at another time we'll look at the Hammer enhancements. So Chris, in your own time, please.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen here.
Actually, there's one question for Jeremy while you're sharing your screen, if that's okay, Chris. So Michael on the YouTube live chat is asking, using the restrict OS feature, I don't have to separate products anymore? Question mark. For example, Apple, they can be under one product and just restricted to their OS version, RHEL 7 or RHEL 8. Nice work.
Yes, that's exactly the idea with this feature, that the Apple is basically what we were thinking of when adding this. So yes, is the answer to the question.
Excellent. Thank you, Michael, for your question. And thank you, Jeremy. So Chris, it's all yours now.
All right. So my name is Chris. I'm going to demo the system purpose bulk action. So basically, I've got a couple of hosts here, and when we go into the system purpose, I don't have anything set right now. What we can do though is we can turn these individually. But you can see that being an issue if you have 10, 100, 1,000 hosts. So what we wanted to do was actually make a way to make that so we can basically click whatever how many hosts you want and just set that. So what we're going to do is do a quick demo here. We'll select these two guys. This guy, same one, doesn't have anything set right now. Go ahead and set this. So you just go to the bulk actions, the select action where all the other bulk actions exist, and do system purpose. And here what we've done is we've set an option to, by default, if you just hit assign right now, it won't change anything. You have the option to clear, and then we can actually set a few values. So we're going to set self-support on this guy. We'll set this to test, and we'll set this to server. And then we also introduced the ability to change the add-ons. By default, the add-ons come from the manifest. I've populated a few just to test and to show you what that would look like. If there isn't any add-ons, you'll only see the no change and clear options. So we're going to go set add-on 2. And the way this works is that if you were to select multiple and also like clear, if you were to select all 4 of these, it would actually by default not change anything. And then if you were to select multiple add-ons like this, it would actually override and pick the add-ons. The only time it would actually clear is if you pick none and clear. So that's how we handle the behavior within that. So if you just go boom like that. So go ahead and click add-on 2, and we'll hit assign, and we can pop up a confirmation on how many hosts we've picked. So that way you can confirm that that's what you really want to apply. Hit assign, and we'll hope that it works. So I've got 2. We take you to the task right away. We can go more details, and we can actually see the task. We can see the subtasks that we updated the system purpose on host 1 and client 2. So now let's go and check those and make sure the values got set. So we do have add-on 2, Red Hat Enterprise Linux Server, self-support, development, and test. And then for our number 2 guy, we should have the same thing. And then from here, you can also clear those values, and change them as well. And that's pretty much all I had. Stop sharing.
Thank you, Chris. I'll just check. I don't see any questions so far, but as we've seen, questions are free to come in at any time. Nothing so far, Chris. Thank you very much. And then our final demo. So we were planning on having a demo from Samir on capsule sync optimization, but due to some last-minute problems with the environment, that won't go ahead, and we'll go ahead at the next community demo. So our final demo of the day will be from Marek with a Foreman demo on host last checking report. So Marek, please. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. So as Melanie said, I will be talking about a new report template, which is called host last check-in. So as the name suggests, the use case here is to be able to tell which hosts are not checking in anymore, or what was the last check-in of hosts. It is based on the subscription manager activity, or basically the check-in of the subscription manager. And therefore, you need Katello plugin for that. So if you don't have Katello plugin installed in your Foreman instance, you will not see this report. But if you have it, you should see it. So let's see what it actually does. So let's try to generate one. I don't have a huge infrastructure in here, just few hosts, but it will demonstrate pretty well what it does. So let's say I want to find out all the hosts that are inactive for longer than 5 hours or that didn't check in last 5 hours. So I will just render that. And I use the HTML format so I can easily show that in my browser. This is the list of hosts which haven't checked in the last 5 hours. As you can see, there are a few hosts which have last check-in empty. And that's because I don't have any information about their check-in. So most likely the subscription manager is not even installed there. There's one whose last check-in was 2 days ago. If you are not interested in those that we don't have any information about, you can easily filter them out. So just to show that. Now we see there's just this one that haven't been checking in the last 2 days. You can customize the interval in here. This is the same syntax that we use everywhere for searching. So this is the hourly part or the time part for that. There are a few examples in here in the inline help. So for example, to show you that I also have some other hosts that are checking in, I can change that interval to 1 minute. We want to see the unknown. That should show at these, or that should show exactly one more host because I don't have many more. But here you can see the difference. This one is checking in. It was just 30 minutes or so ago. So I have it listed in here. And one more thing that this report allows you is to actually filter on hosts. So let's say I want to only search for hosts that contain the word MQTT in its name. So you can use any kind of scope search syntax in here, the same syntax we have in the host index page, for example, or anywhere basically, to further limit. Oh, I think I left. It should work now. Yeah, so you can see it is only limited to the specific host which matches the filter. And that is pretty much it. It's that simple.
That's great, Mark. Thank you very much. Just take a look. No additional questions seems to have come in during that time. I see that you're still presenting on the live stream, so just give it 1 minute. So we just have one comment. I will be using this. Does Foreman generate alerts when, just say, a host is not updating?
I think it does not, or not that I know about, but we have a lot of Katello developers here, so maybe they know about some alerting mechanism based on this.
Anyone?
I don't think we have anything like that now, but that's an interesting RFE.
Okie doke. Okay, so thank you, guys. Let me see. Yep, I don't think there are any additional questions. So I have put a link in the YouTube live chat to the community entry about the ForemanCon survey. So if you can, please complete it and let us know your feedback. If you're watching the recording of this at a later time, please feel free to reach out with any questions on the Foreman Community Discourse or on Freenode IRC, or drop a comment on the video and I will get back to you with an answer. I'd like to thank everyone who demoed today for their time and everybody who joined us on the live stream and asked questions. Thank you very much, and we'll see you at the next community demo. Take care.